Hey Clear Lake peeps, Ross England here with Clear Lake Guide Service with your fishing report for this week. Fishing and conditions report, probably more conditions than fishing. Today is August 18th, so this report is for the 19th. I already did the report for the 22nd. You guys noticed that last week. Thanks for catching my mistakes. I appreciate it. So, I'm sitting here at the county park. There you go. It's closed. So I've had a number of conversations with people who are somewhat in the know about what's going on with launch ramps around the lake, and there just isn't any straight answers. So it's kind of day to day and week to week. So let's talk about lake level is, as of today, is minus 1.35. I have to correct myself and or apologize to you folks because I have been quoting for the last month and a half that Redbud would close at minus 1.2. I was down there yesterday. It was minus 1.25 and it was still open. There's only a couple of lanes open, but there's no word at this point about when it will close. So Bob Tyler was kind enough to post a video yesterday of a guy at the launch ramp in a bass boat with a lower unit out of the water and his trolling motor pulled up trying to get off of the sandbar that's out there. So, you know, from this point forward, any conversation about launch ramps are going to be use at your own risk. The ones that are still in the best shape, well, the one that's still in the best shape is the 5th Street launch ramp. It's got plenty of water on it. From the back end of my rear tire on my trailer, it's a good 8.5 horizontal feet to the end of the launch ramp. So I think it's probably going to be good for at least into mid-October probably. It just depends. I think even if the lake goes down a foot between now and then, it's still going to be pretty close to being usable. So now they have the parking lot all torn to pieces, but it actually really hasn't impacted anything as far as use of the ramp. So at this point in time, there's 3 launch ramps that are open. 5th Street launch ramp in Lakeport, Clear Lake Oaks launch ramp, and Redbud. So when we hear or see that one of them is closed, we'll let you know. Conditions of the water, actually, it's been improving. I was really surprised. There was a significant amount of lake this last week that the water had cleared up. The algae had kind of gone downhill. And I think part of it is probably due to the amount of smoke, which is kind of filtering some of this sunlight. That's probably got something to do with it. Plus, there's been some windier days in the afternoon that's probably mixed it up a lot. So the algae is becoming less and less of a problem around the lake. Even if you looked at the launch ramp down here right now, there's a little bit of algae that's built up on the launch ramp here at the county park, but looking out to the little Tule Point out there, the water looks pretty good from here. So I saw some areas that, you know, we had water clarity of 2.5, almost 3 feet. So I think the water is in pretty good shape that way. Water temperatures, I saw mornings starting out at 79 and a half, and got up to as high as 83 in areas that I fished. So those are pretty much your conditions. The activities, it's going to be a real big weekend here starting Friday. There's a series of 3 different organizations who are putting on kayak tournaments starting Friday. I have no idea how big they're going to be, but I'm expecting them to be pretty good sized. And it's going to be kind of easy for these guys because, like the county park, they're about the only ones who can use it as, you know, the kayak fishermen. So that's going on this weekend. Other than that, I'm not aware of anything unless there's a club tournament or something, which seems like there's always a club tournament. So the biggest deal, I was going to fish today, and that's why I'm out here at the county park, and the smoke just got to the point that I thought, you know what, I'm smarter than this. I really don't belong out here in this stuff, so I'm going to stay out of it. So okay, so we covered activities, water, launch ramps. The fishing, we fished, most of our fishing was done late last week. I haven't been on the water this week yet. I would say that the fishing slowed down, but we still had good days. I mean, I had one day that was a little bit tougher. It got down to 10 fish for the day, and then I had 2 days where, you know, one guy caught, I think he had 14 one day and 12 the next. We covered a lot of water to get those fish, but we had some decent fish too. Most of them were topwater fish on a variety of baits. We caught some fish on spooks. We caught some fish on frogs. We caught fish on rats. The majority of our fish, with the exception of a couple of jig fish and worm fish, were probably all less than 4 feet of water, maybe 5 feet of water. The jig and worm fish were 15 to 19. And there weren't very many of them. You know, I got to tell you, I spent the mornings out here, at least for me, have been pretty slow. You know, once it gets to about 10 o'clock, then the bite picks up, and especially the topwater bite, you can really start running around and catching fish. I had one morning that we actually caught, I think, four fish, you know, by about 9 o'clock. So, and those were topwater fish, but that was covering a lot of water to do that. So it's not like you can, at least for me, I haven't found the place that you can just pull up on a, you know, a point or a rock pile or anything like that and then just sit there and just whack away at them. The silver sides, one day they'll be up on the bank and you'll do really well and catch a lot of fish. The next day, the silver sides aren't there. Some of it's because algae has blown over them and covered up the water. So that kind of, it's been real up and down. So I know I was talking to the ramp monitor here just a little bit ago, stopped by because he saw me pull up, and he talked, sometime this week, he talked to like 5 kayakers who were out fishing, and unless they were pulling his string, basically one of them had one fish and the other 4 didn't have any. So I'm sure they fished here around the county park and some of these weed mats that are out here just offshore. So I think the fishing has gotten tougher, and we'll just leave it at that. So I think that's my report for this week. So you folks have a good weekend. Watch out if you're out on the water in a boat. Watch out for all these kayakers. Some of them will have flags, some of them won't. Some of them are going to be out there pretty dark 30 in the morning, so just keep an eye out for them. We'll talk to you next week.